you know, things, secrets, you know, things that we need to know, of course, in the right time for the things that are coming ahead. So I would love to hear you talk about your experience with the crystal skulls and, of course, you know, Serpent Mound. And then, of course, like, you know, what's heading up for this year? I mean, we've got, I mean, literally right now, you know, I know that the reservations are kind of excluded from this energy because they're technically, you know, like when I'm talking about the United States and what's happening, it's really dependent on the United States chart, right? Like the birth chart of the United States. And I feel like for some people, you know, for the reservations, that's like a different chart. You know what I mean? So, but the things that affect us are definitely going to affect things on the reservation. So I'm curious what you see comes up for this year, how the energy is shifting. So
we're looking at way back. We're looking at Lemuria and Mu and Atlantis, you know, and the origin of, you know, the abuse of the crystal.
yeah.
And the abuse of the crystal is actually you, because we have maybe about up to 18 crystals in our left brain and about 18 in our right brain, you know, and they're microscopic crystals, and they're used for clairaudience and clairvoyance, you know, when they're activated. So a lot of people that weren't taught this, when their crystals are being activated, their body recognizes them as a foreign object, you know, because they're microscopic. But so when a person is fighting their gifts of clairvoyance and clairaudience, when they're fighting them, those crystals in your brain are like, you're fighting that energy. You develop migraines. And today, the doctors don't know where migraines are coming from, but it's your own internal battle, you know, not picking up your gifts that you're born with. They're natural gifts.
Now, the
So
kind of crystals you're talking about, you say there's 18. So are they associated like with the glands? Because I know like our bones are crystals, right? Because they're made out of minerals. And I mean, and really water is a kind of a crystal, kind of a liquid crystal. And we're what, you know, like 70% water or something. So the
yeah,
18 crystals you're talking about are associated with different points in our body,
yeah.
kind of like
So
the chakras.
we're talking about our crystalline energy, our
Okay.
crystalline form. I think the last guy that had that was like Buddha, you know, that had that, or that was open to all that, and lived it and walked it, talked it.
Activated everything.
Today we come in spurts, you know, or in just this. We could only handle the energy. A channeler could only handle the energy of crystalline energy up to 15 minutes, and they got to come back because their channels. Oh, this body can't handle this energy, so they have to come back. So most of the channelers short. Over here, 4 days. 4 days, because we do the 7 ceremonies of the Pleiades that the sisters gave us. You know, white star woman, blue star, red star, the Holy Mother, Grandma Turtle. You know, Corn woman and white buffalo calf woman. The 7 sisters gave us 7 ceremonies, and a lot of that energy was you hold it for 4 days. You know, you could some 8 days now. 8 days you could hold and talk. You're like a walking spirit. You know, you talk, spirit talk. So abuse of the crystal way back when was abuse of who you are. We, instead of today, we're externalizing everything, our energy. Heal me, you know, heal yourself.
Right.
It's really easy to do. Nighttime is the best time to heal yourself. When you lay down, I always call in all my ancestors. Hey guys, I need some help here. I got an owie someplace here. I could feel it. You could go into my body, do what you do best, you know. if, and I'll give you permission, to heal, because I got work to do.
Physically, like, according to physics, it's easier at night too, because the magnetic field is so low. Like when we have sunrise and sunset, we have a magnetic induction, right? Where the
Right.
sun comes and protects us. But in between that, that magnetic field is very low. And so that's why good and bad things can come in at night. I've been noticing lately, I'm sorry, I don't mean to derail you, but that just reminded me lately.
Right. That's
So
all in order.
from that last eclipse we had just like 2 days ago on the 26th. And then we have another eclipse in another 10 days, a lunar eclipse. So we're in eclipse season, right? And I've noticed the energy at night, there's so much stuff coming in, good and bad. Like you said, those imps in the corner that say, hey, I can give you what you want. I can tell you what you want, but you can't tell anybody secrets, right? All those guys are showing up right now too, And so nighttime, this has been, I've just noticed that there's a lot of activity going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had visitors. When was that, Rita?
Mm-hmm.
Remember right here, just right outside the house here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple nights ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a visitor right here, up in the sky, just sitting up there. She took video. Rita took video and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Oh, while you're here, Rita. Yeah. Come here. Say hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank
you.
So
she took pictures of the ship that was right out here.
Uh-huh.
And there was a guy right across the street come walking over. He had a feeling to come out, So we visited a while, and so we talked, and so anyway, they were over here. And we seen him about maybe a half hour before he left Marty. There was over.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of activity right now at night, and it's almost like it's the battle. It's like, you can see it around you with everybody. It's like everything around me, or at least in this country, seems polarized, right? We have this impeachment going on, people for it, people against it, and I feel like all this stuff is getting stirred up by this cosmic battle that's happening. It's like, until you realize that's going on, you don't see that, we're all feeling this. Like it's, if you're getting anxiety at night, it's not just you, like we're all feeling that. And so what I've been doing is, this is why I love to do my mantras during the day, because they get into my subconscious like music. And then at night, when I start to feel that anxiety, I start doing my mantras. It's like a record in the background, right? I start doing my mantras. And then a lot of what's been happening for me, I mean, I don't really consider myself a Christian, even though I was raised one, but the cosmic Christ has been coming in, and really, he'll put he'll put you in the palm of your hand. If you get scared or you get frightened at night, you just imagine that you're laying in the palm of the cosmic Christ, and I'm telling you, all of that stuff will start to go away.
Mm-hmm. So you was talking about this thing that's happening about the good and bad. Yeah, here, but I know the orange balls of light that come around here, they're from Orion. I know when you're looking at the 1313.
And that's who gave you the messages for the book too. That was that they were from Orion, those beings. Just so people know, if they're questioning, like, okay, well, where were they from? They were from Orion.
So the Orions talk about the belt, that on this side, the belt, the stars on this side represent the 12 lords of light, and the other ones are 12 lords of darkness. And you are the center, and they're all doing God's work. See, it's there because of the free will and of this energy of this planet, even though it was originally unconditional love planet, but Mars changed all that. So so if a situation comes in, I don't care what kind of situation, then you have the free will to use any one of those 24 emotions, you know, from fear to unconditional love to address this situation.
Mhm.
So what's coming in Betelgeuse of the Orion system, you got to pay attention to what's happening there. There, something's going on in
Well, and
Betelgeuse.
that's coincidentally, that's where Rahu is right now. Rahu's in Gemini in the nakshatra called Ardra. Ardra is the symbol of the teardrop. So tragedies oftentimes happen during this nakshatra. For instance, 9/11 happened 18 and a half years ago when this happened. But the star that belongs with Ardra is Betelgeuse. And so, that's also the female warrior. And so, I know that a lot of people think of Orion star energy as warlike, but it's female warlike. It's a very different energy. It's creation, right?
Yeah, the hunter.
Yes, huntress, like Diana Artemis. The moon goddess.
Okay. So yeah, so your crystal, you got them up here, and you could use them or abuse them or lose them, whatever you want to do, free will. And then you got crystals in your lungs. Both your lungs is crystal energy, and a lot of times something might happen when they get activated. Your lungs get activated. Something happens, and you could take it however you feel on a beautiful, energetic space. The feeling that you have nobody's taking your space away. But you got all this whole universe to work with. But some people say you're in my space. That's abuse of your own energy, thinking that, hey, this is just mine.
Right.
You don't realize that every piece of cosmic space belongs to this whole universe, not just one person. So space energy of crystal is also involved with all of this, and that's through your lungs. Your heart has crystals. See? And when that happens, sometimes you get a little pain, and we all get that. All of a sudden we stop. Oh no, it's not happening to me, because there's another orb went by you. It's not happening to me, because I'm in good health. But you don't say nothing. You just experience that pain. But the spirits, I said, when you feel these things, lay down and say thank you. Absorb it and accept the gifts that you are born with. They're activating in your system. Everything's shifting. You have crystals in your kidneys. Okay, your kidneys and your kidneys are very important, as you know, in your system. You have crystals in your reproductive systems, man, woman, and when they're activated, the spirit said that your orgasms are more intense, and it's a beautiful gift, because you're giving and you're receiving energy, from that, because there's a lot of love involved. So, as you know, crystals are communication. Crystals are in every cell phone, every TV, radio. Has to do with communication. So that's the external, and through all that communication, it could be abused. The crystal is being abused through communication. And when you internalize everything, you're the crystal. And that's the gift of internalization. But like I say, we externalize. There's so many people that are losing their sense of telepathy. They have their phones to the heads all the time. We've seen that today with our kids, the young ones. They're all standing with the phone, or they're sitting there. Everybody has a phone. That's abuse of crystal energy when they're not using their own. They're not using their own energy, their own communication of telepathy. So it takes away your imagination. It takes away so much that you're born and the things that you need to walk with and to live and enjoy. You put your energy towards that externalization instead of using it and enjoying life. And there's so much going on the outside of your houses that we're not seeing it. We're scared of nature. We're scared to get dirty. We're scared to climb a tree.
Scared to get hurt.
Yeah, so we're doing all external. Pray for me, heal me, pray for me. You should pray for yourself.
So these crystal skulls, why do you think, and I mean, first of all, how do they do it? Because I mean, like the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull, it's carved out of one piece of crystal. It is not put together, but what is your feeling about this particular crystal skull?
Well, they put that in my hands way back when I was talking Discovery Channel or sighting one of those programs, and while I was talking, they come over and they put it in my hands. And I was talking on a subject that had nothing to do with crystal skulls, and it was like breaking my concentration on what I was trying to talk about. And I looked down, I looked at it, and I was in my mind, so what the heck is this? But I was trying to stay focused on the subject matter, what they were saying, but I think they did that on purpose, to see what was going on. But I felt the energy of that, and at that time, my hands, they started getting numb. They start tingling, they start getting numb. So I just stopped. I said, this skull is making my hands numb, and my hands are tingly. So they came over and they took it. But I was too focused on what I was there for, instead of the skull. And I just kept talking about what they wanted me to talk about. And I didn't have time to say, hey, what was that? Or because there was so many people around and, would start talking about other things. But yeah, that was my introduction to the skull way back in 96.
Okay.
But I didn't focus on the energy of it or the purpose or things like that, nothing but yeah, it would be, I don't have the answers to that, but I'm feeling that the DNA of a Mayan would give us a clue as to what that was made for and why and all that, because as you know, that's...
Does Maritza know much about the crystal skulls?
Maritza, you want to sit over here?
She's Mexican.
She's asking you a question. I'll be right back.
I see. I didn't know you were there. I'm so happy. So everybody, this is Maritza Valladassera, yes?
Valladassera. That's good.
And she is a beautiful Mexican-American woman and healer who has been translating the Symbols book into Spanish. So if you're interested in the Spanish version, I think she's got a little bit prepared so far, but I think the full one's going to be done pretty soon, yeah?
Yeah, the three books, the 11:11, the 12:12, 13:13 are actually in the printers already.
Yay, that's so exciting.
I don't know exactly the dates, but they're coming up.
So right. I'm curious, what's your take on, especially, I mean, this wonderful, Serpent Mound, Star Knowledge, Spring, Seed, Peace, Equinox, Summit. Woo, I got it all in. We're going to have the Mitchell Hedges Crystal Skull, and originally it's Mayan. So I would just love to hear you talk a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, I think the different cultures carry different seeds, different information for this transformation that we're heading towards. So the Mayans, every single culture, right, has a piece of the puzzle of these expansion that we're transitioning into. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to the Mayans, it's well known that it's one of the most ancient cultures and advanced in technology back in the day. Mm-hmm. So the crystal skulls I've never really been able to maybe encounter them, to be able to express in an intuitive way an opinion. I would have to most likely get a hold of one and just meditate with it or hold it just to sense what kind of information they carry within themselves. I'm sure that the guards of this crystal skulls have a lot of wonderful information. Would I be able to say what it means? Well, I haven't had the chance to have any information encounter with them at all. So,
well, I've been doing just a little bit of research on it online just to, kind of get the feeling of, what's going to be there. And I feel like I've already been getting, some telepathic information from it. And it's been called the skull of love. And so it's really about oneness and bringing people together. And I mean, it's such a perfect addition already to the Serpent Mound Peace Summit. And I was just wondering, like, as a Mexican American, what did you learn about the Mayan culture? Was this something that you had to dig out yourself, or like, just would love to hear, your take on that.
Well, so when it comes to the native tribes of the world, they do carry a lot of the DNA, the information of the ancestors is actually the very most accurate. Exactly. If you talk to elders and for example, in this culture here, Lakota tribe, and then you talk to elders of the Mayans tribe, or you talk to the elders of the Mexica tribes or the Aztec tribes, they all carry very similar information from their ancestors. So it's you can't call it a coincidence when all these elders are not really in touch with each other. They come from different parts of the world. So they speak the truth, and it was left to them through their ancestors. They carried this information forward to us. They're the carriers. They saved this information for us. And this is beautiful. So I would say it's very similar in some way. Of course, the language that is used according to the culture, it's a little different, but it means the same. And I counter that with a lot of the beautiful people that I meet through the conferences or to all the places, ceremony, that they have a very similar message. Maybe said with different words.
Right, and that's the word. See, it's like the Tower of Babel gets us tangled again, right? That's why it's so important for this to get translated into Spanish and French and German, and I mean whoever wants to spread this message, because I feel like so many things have come through in his symbols that can be applied to so many different religions and cultures.
That's correct.
But did he go off? I wanted to ask him his astrology. He was going to talk about his astrology feelings for this year.
Yeah, he's here. On the other hand, if you get some information about what the prophecies are coming up that was left to us through the ancestors, where the condor and the eagle unite and learn to fly together, that's the female energies and the male energies combining, which is from the south and the north.
Yes.
And that's part of the work that we are doing, with the scatters and the ceremonies.
And it's so interesting, those directions, because so much has been on the east and the west. The east, I mean, my God, ad infinitum, right? East versus us. Well, what about the north and the south?
Well, again, every culture has
those grids too, and that's why it's so important for people in Latin America to be able to read in Spanish his work.
So there's one of our sisters in the sun dancing group took the book actually to Peru and then to Ecuador, and the elders over there are doing ceremony with it, and they really appreciate the work, the translation, plus of course all the information that comes forward. Is I not her wrong, they're very interested in uniting the Sundance, so we'll see how that works.
That's beautiful.
So that's beautiful. You see, it's the moment where we unified and unification of all of it, right?
Yeah, all the directions, and then we spin all the directions, and then we become one, right?
That's correct. Okay, he's here. Thank you for the conversation.
Sister, I'm so happy you're here.
Love you.
Love you too, honey. Yay! Oh, that's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so important.
We'll probably talk about that later on.
The
a
condor
little
and
more.
the eagle. Just so people know, Chief Golden Light Eagle, a lot of people call him Eagle. And the condor is the bird associated especially with Mexico. And so he named her beautiful condor woman, basically, in Lakota. And it's to unify the sacred masculine teachings and the sacred feminine teachings and help them. Like we said, so much has been on the east and the west, and now we're doing north and south, and then everything will start to blend, and people will come together as one again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes a little time. One of the things that we walk with is what we call the sun dance. And over the years, I learned so much about what's taking place there, and it just I'm just amazed at the knowledge, the understanding, and you could say the prophecies that stem from what comes from there. So, and the time, there's a different timing. You got the 11:11 time, the 12:12. You got the Mayan 13:20 time. You got the 7:11, 7:24, 24/7. There's a time. Sundance time for creating. What you're doing is you're in a time. What they call time machine. There's a time machine, a living time machine. And that time machine, its clock is 91.25. That's the code for that time machine. In other words, the Mayans, their time machine is, I think, 72 seconds equals a minute. They have 20 days to a week. And ours is is that Gregorian time. Got 7 days: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then they start all over: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then they start all over. They call it the loop. So what do you do in that loop? Okay, Sunday, what do you do? Well, everybody goes to church, What do you do Monday? All right, go to work or go to school. It's the same thing over and over and over. It's a routine. It's a loop, slavery. And that something inside says, hey, there's something I'm here for, but I can't get out of this loop. You don't even think that you're in a loop. You're stuck. So I always go back into before a white man came over here. We didn't have Gregorian time. We didn't have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. That's only 7 names that they could come up with for 365 days. There's more names. Every day has a different name. And that was the thing. Okay, so what did we do over here? We didn't go by Gregorian time. That's slavery time. We had a name for every day of the year. I have those names, and the names have energy. They have historical insight and also futuristic insight of what's happening, like what you were talking about. Okay, this year energy here states that this is what happened, and this is what happened again, and it happened again, and it happened again, and it happened again. And you have that with the Vedic energies. See, same over here. But the thing is, we have the 365 names. And the timing is 91.25. 1 second equals 91.25 seconds. Okay. So when you're in this time machine, this living time machine, this praying time machine, this singing time machine, this dancing time machine, you're creating your future. You're not looking back to what happened. You're looking forward. So you're looking at 365. You got 4 days to create your future. First 4 days represent your summer months. So how many days in average of how many days in a year? 365. So that's your summer. The first day represents the season of the summer, from June 21st to, September.
Okay.
From September 21st to December 21st is the winter, fall. From there, spring. So you have 4 days. So those 4 days is whatever happens, it's magnified 91.25 times. So if you have happiness all day, you're going to be happy all summer. If you're happy the next day, if you're cranky, you're going to be like that. You're creating your system on what you want, what you see, and how you act. And so whatever's taking place, we always say, go back into the sun dance. What happened? And everybody connects. So
So Sundance sets up the whole next year.
Yep, the whole year. The whole year. So you got to pray in your year. You got to pray in your prosperity, food, good water, good health, good travel, good everything. Whatever you get.
So Sundance lasts 4 days, and so you would divide that 4 days into 365, and that gives you the
91.25.
the equation that you have. Okay, just so people understand, because that makes perfect sense to me. You do, a ceremony, you divide it up, and that tells you what's going to happen for that time slot, according to the ceremony. And that's just a completely different way of looking at how the stars affect us. And I think it's fascinating. This is something people don't understand about Sundance, because people think of Sundance and like, oh my God, ritual piercing. Oh my God, they're, blood and gore. No, it's not about that. It's about sacrifice. It's
How come they don't say that about war?
Yeah, exactly. Why don't they say that about war? I mean, you're not hurting anybody else during Sundance. The only person you're hurting is yourself.
Yeah, you don't even hurt yourself. You don't even feel it. There's no
because
pain.
you're in trance. Yeah, and your body doesn't feel it till afterward that it's pretty hard.
Some of the wounds are about this big. They're the fastest healing wounds ever.
Wow.
Within 2 weeks,
And that's the power of prayer.
Yeah, you could put dirt in there. Grab some dirt, pack dirt in there. No, it don't fester, nothing. You could put shit in there, nothing. We put shit in there, it doesn't fester. It heals fast. With buffalo shit, cow dung, not cow dung, but animal. That's grass. That's unconditional love. Anything green's unconditional love.
Right.
Put medicine, sage, tobacco. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You put them in
the point is that people think of Sundance and they think, oh God, it's so violent. Oh. Well, okay, let's look at what they're doing. What they're doing is a ceremony that lasts 4 days, and it is to help them be a guide or a map for the next year so they can see the patterns that Spirit has out for them. And I think this is a very important thing to emphasize, because as far as I'm concerned, this is a form of astrology. You're doing it always, of course, it's according to the tropical zodiac, but it's summer solstice, and so the sun has just entered summer, right? And a lot of people are afraid of the sun. They're afraid of, getting burnt, getting skin cancer, all of that. And what you're saying is the complete opposite, which is
Yeah, it is
about the
because
sun. The sun's not
yeah,
going to hurt you. You
yeah,
need
they
to.
say don't stare at the sun because you're gonna go blind. But there's not nobody in this world. There's not even one instance where that has ever happened. In
Right.
fact, that was just something that belonged to the priests and the medicine people that that only those in that area could stare at the sun. Nobody else was allowed to stare at the sun because we understand what happens when we stare at the sun. Because we get information from the sun,
Yeah.
and that
Light codes.
information is
Yeah.
really potent. It's really high vibrational information, and there's not too many people that could absorb that information. When we get it, we have. I'll show you a video of everything that we got, or just in one Sundance. We got about 144 codes from the sun, and we put it into the oldest memories that we have. We put it into a 16 type mantra, symbol mantra, because of the number of the marriages that it took from the star people in different realms to create the atom of man. And that was 16 marriages just to create the atom.
Wow.
So when you put in that symbol that these sun dancers get into this mantra, then it opens you up to it's like magic, in a person's life, how things just like connect, Oh my God! I was holding on to this for 20 years, and it finally hit home. I understand it now. So the sun has all this information that relates to your DNA.
Right.
It has trillions of sound frequencies, and each one of them frequencies belong to each planet, each plant, animal, bird, even us.
And how the frequencies, what I read the other day is that if you take a seed and you lick it, surround it in your saliva, and you put it in the ground, it will automatically develop things that are good for your DNA because you combined your DNA with the plant.
Mm-hmm.
And that just shows the intelligence of the sun, how the sun feeds to the plants. They develop chlorophyll, they develop this intelligence. And when we come in contact with it, it's like it's this divine computer. It knows exactly what to give us.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah.
Magic.
So yes. So the energy speaks of this. The suns talks, but a lot of times they talk to these through the whales, because the whales are the ones that are connection with the sun. So like I was back in '96 maybe, and I went to a channel in Columbia, Missouri. And I was just a listener. And this channel stated that the white man has already murdered the whales, And I went into shock. I was in my, your happy vibration, your meditative goodness and all this kind of stuff. And when they said that, I just went into this shock. It was like a spiritual shock. And then I learned about the whales being beached, the dolphins, and name it, all over their eardrums are being blown out by the sound that they're experimenting with.
Yeah, it's
radar
awful.
or sonar.
The sonar.
Then knowing and learning about a lot of the calves only live to be 6 months old, and they die because of the energy of what they're doing in the ocean, through war, shooting off stuff, blast. So Yeah. Then I understood why they said that the white men already murdered the whales. They've already murdered themselves, because of karma, the karmic thing that we talked about earlier. So,
The Japanese are doing it too. It's not just the white man. The
yeah.
Japanese have been doing
When,
whaling
when, I-
industry. I
when,
know. I can't imagine what their military warfare is like concerning the ocean, considering they're an island. I'm sure they're
um,
doing something too, but
yeah. Let me uh, say something here is that when I say white man, I don't mean the race. I mean the mind. The mind, left
modern
brain
man,
mind.
modern
Yeah,
man.
yeah. The mind of the left brain person. They don't
Mhm.
think about anything else, nature, and like naturalness. So the left brain people, they do all that because they want the technology, which is all left brain's stuff. Now we went to a ceremony in Santa Monica. We did a sweat lodge over there, and
That's
at that
weird.
time, the whales came in and they said that they're not giving themselves to the people anymore. Because they're like the redwood trees. They said the same thing, is that no, we're not giving our bodies anymore to people because they're doing it out of greed, and they're gonna stop that. And the next day, what happened? Japan outlawed whaling in their system.
They're still doing it though. They
Yeah,
outlawed it,
and
but
and,
they're
well, what they showed me, they showed all these whales. They come out of the ocean and they have their tails. They had their tails up and they're moving a wave. And then they went under and this wave was moving. That's when I went down to, where's that, Palo Alto. I was over at David Kozba's place, was visiting here. They had that bulletin that the tsunami hit that area over there in Japan.
mhm.
Then I understood the vision of those whales with their tails up, making that wave. So yeah, so there is a karma. There
Yeah.
is a karma that takes place. So these whales, what they do is they hold the codes to what you call the Ark of the Covenant. You know, they're the ones that carry and hold that and protect that for us. It's not that little box over there in Ethiopia or someplace.
Right.
No, they carry them. And they're for everybody. But you have, in order to access them, you have to carry yourself to like a 13th dimensional vibration, energy, where you could handle that, the energy of those codes. And when they bring them up, they're down 30,000 feet. And these guys say, oh no, the deepest part of the ocean is 28,000 feet. And grandma said, no, it's 30,000. Their machines are off.
Easy to
It doesn't
believe.
matter. Yeah, so anyway, they go down, they bring them codes up, and when they breach, they shoot them off in the air. And they're
Ah,
for everybody. They release them in the air, and they're microscopic molecules that spin just like the atom, with the proton, neuron, and neuron, that spin. And they spin so fast, similar to that, and they're out. Now, in order to achieve and get that code, you need to raise your vibration that's equal to that vibration of that code. So that's why Sundance is important. It takes 4 days, sometimes 2 or 1, or depending on you, to raise your vibration into that code of that whale. Because they have about 3,500 different sounds that they make compared to our little measly 26. So they release that. Now the flicker effect has to be in place. Like our eyes see 30 frames per second. it's like a movie. They have these little things, and the film, when each film is different. So the film is equal to the flicker effect in our eye, where we see 30 pictures a second. So when we're watching and looking at the sun acts as a giant magnifying glass, or what do they call them, the ones that they look at cells and stuff.
Glass. Yeah.
Yeah. So it acts like that. And when those molecules go across into the path of the sun, they'll, because of your flicker effect and your energy of your 13th dimensional energy, boom! It's like taking a picture, and it's so potent just that looking at that little symbol of that molecule, they'll flip you over. So some of our sun dancers flip down, go down, lays them out, because that split 1/30th of a second is really a strong, energetic thing that you're waiting for. When it hits, it's just boom, just a simple, fast, it's so much energy, it flips you down. So we teach our sun dancers to draw that, what you've seen in the ground, and circle it, ground it in. Don't even worry about what it means. We'll channel later on, or we'll do a ceremony later on to get the message from what that means.
Right, because you're paying attention to when that happens in that 4-day cycle, because that's going to tell you, well, maybe during that month of the next year, when that happened during the 4 days, right? That's when that person is going to, have a difficulty, or receive, a change. Something changes in their life, maybe new information, or something passes, or if they get hit with a light code, then at that point in the 4 days to pay attention to that particular month, right?
Yeah, because all our codes, no matter what culture you're in, they all have codes. They all have symbols. Somebody got them somewhere, somehow, some way. And those stories, a lot of them are lost, but they're not lost. You just have to know how to retrieve them through those codes. So. And there's so many star codes. It's just like amazing. We deciphered like the Andromedan codes. I have tons and tons of codes, Arcturian codes. I have all that. Palladian, and so when those codes come, we get them through that. Then they don't know what it means. Then you go through a ceremony, much like with 11/11, 12/12. You go one code at a time to get it moving, to find out the bottom line. What does this mean? Which Earth group knows about this? Which star group knows about this? Which ascended mastery knows about this?
Some people understand the difference. Like 11/11, we understand that. And for Vedic astrologers, 11th house energy, think galactic center also. 12/12 would be 12th house energy. That would be, very Piscean, very surrender to, the oneness, really. And, but 13/13, that's an energy that, we don't have 13 houses in an astrology chart. So explain how the 13/13 energy
13/13, and it has a lot to do with the 13 moon cycles. You got 13 new moons, 13 quarter moons, 13 full moons. You got 13 last quarter moons. So each one of them has a message, energetic message that moves you over the year. So I noticed that with ceremonies, they have the half moon ceremony, and I didn't understand what that was, till I started questioning. Yeah, they're only looking at the new moon and the full moon. There's other in between stuff like the crescent,
Well, and also, if you are paying attention every year, you'll see that 1 month will have 2 full moons or 2 new moons, and that's why we have 13 moons in 1 year,
Yeah, that's why you got to take the word month away.
Right.
And it becomes a natural system. A natural system. We title everything. and it ties you up to energy of whoever tied you up. You know,
Exactly.
if it's Julius Caesar for the month of July, if it's Augustine or Augustus for August, you know, that's that they're named after some guys that were, you know,
Right.
Roman.
The Roman calendar, right.
Yeah.
And that was part
So
of the reason that I was attracted to Vedic, is because, they base their, the Panchanga, or the full year calendar, is based on the Vedas, which are 50,000 years old. I mean, I know some people say 5,000, but it's more like 50,000 years old. They're not based on the Roman names,
That's when somebody, it was always there, but somebody just had the idea that we need something to live by.
Right.
Okay, here it is. We'll give you a little bit of this,
So what did you see and during your Sundance this year, that would be coming up this year, that's, for everybody, like what's the cycle that we're moving through, that because everything, I always want to give something in my videos that help people. I just want to help people get through the difficulties, and when we talk to the gurus, then we can see, what do they see, and what kind of tools can they give us to help with this coming year.
Yeah, how we do that is like the first 4 days is a day of purification to get yourself ready to work on that level. And then you got 4 days of dancing, of raising your vibration. And after you're all done, it's like, boom, you have to go into another 4 ceremonies of coming down off that high, that spiritual high. Otherwise, going through mainstream America at high, you're going to be a goofy person. You're crazy, You're going to be too loving, and nobody's going to be that loving. So you come down slow. But during that process, all the ones that dance and all the ones that experience whatever it was, they're the ones that because we have a gift of prophecy. We have a gift to create our own future, So when we're together, the Spirit will ask each one of them, okay, we want one word out of everybody on how your future is going to be for this year. They all have a word, boom, 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 boom.
What was your word? What did you feel?
So what they do is they take that energy. There's a song for it, and they take all of that energy and they form it into it, summarize everything, and they let you know how the year is going to be. And so you watch, and so far it's just like beautiful, it's beautiful. As a collective, that's the collective of the group, the Sundance group. On the outside, it's Gregorian. It's like the Inquirer. Oh, the world's gonna end this year. Oh, it's the year 2000. The world's gonna end. It's 2012. The world's gonna end. They're always saying things like that to keep the fear-based energy moving, to keep you in that level. This is what Spirit told us. He said, don't pay attention to any of that. You pay attention to why you're here, what you came here for, what your purpose is, what your mission, what your sacred responsibility is.
What do you
None
think
of that will affect you at all when you're doing your work.
But what do you think Trump's sacred responsibility is? Because it seems like, he can't even fulfill what he's supposed to do because they're impeaching him, and all of this, this war between everybody, they're like this, and I think that, this energy is going to settle, over the next couple years, but, I feel like if we can focus on a common goal, then it's not going to be quite so traumatic,
Yeah. If you
I hate to see, it's like everybody, I look around on Facebook and it's like some people are, you know, over here and some people over here, and I seem to be right down the middle going like this,
yeah,
you know.
that's the Orion thing. You're in the middle. You're an interpreter.
I had to wear my Orion Nebula top tonight. This almost looks like the Orion Nebula. And as I was putting it on, I thought, this is the energy that's coming through, is this female warrior energy, you know, this nebula that is, I mean, what's a nebula? It's a star maker. It's this gaseous cloud that forms what? Forms stars, forms planets, you know?
Mhm.
And this is the
Okay, so
energy that I'm feeling for this next year. It's very Orion.
Beetlejuice, you say is feminine. Pay attention to that, okay? Because Beetlejuice is gonna send out some energy, and this is Aquarian age. It's a feminine energy. There's something happening there. Check it out. I don't know who to check it out to, but Orion's been opened. It's been uh, really visible around here. Not with the star system, but with the, we've seen like 90 some ships come out, you know, around the next town over here. Set
There
up
you
on
have
hills
it.
and watch them.
See?
The Orion ships come in.
They're here. Yeah.
They're working on the children because the children are bombarded with left brain junk. You know, they're keeping them left brain through the school system.
From the
And
video games. I mean, come on, let's face it.
yeah,
Video games. If they don't get them, you know, at the school, then they're going to get them online and stuff like that. You know, distract them and keep them from using and developing their psychic skills and their telepathy, you know, and
that's
this is
all.
what
It's
the
all
mamas are
planned
here
out
to
in
do.
1996 when they planned this. What you're going through, they planned this out 1996, and it was 1906, and that's when they call it Declaration of War on American People by the Illuminati. What they wanted to do is get the child away from the mother as soon as possible, to put them into community approved projects such as preschool, Head Start, kindergarten, elementary, you know, middle school. It goes on to left brain them to
I,
the,
I had to homeschool my
and,
daughter to get her away.
yeah, to take them away from the mother as soon as possible, because they don't want them to think. You know, they don't want them to think only. They want them to think only on what they give them, and the only thing that they'll give them for everything that they learned was a one invisible letter called A, or a B, or a C, and they'll give them a little piece of paper for your whole 12 years of work. Here, or here's a little piece of paper with a little certificate or diploma, or saying this and saying that. But they keep that person away from thinking. You only think about what mainstream America puts in front of you, and that's all you're guided to do. And to take you away from the mother so that you don't have time to think. You know, you can't think your own thoughts. In most of the thoughts you think are based around your environment.
Right.
You know?
They're just regurgitated thought patterns of somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, mind control.
Yep.
So, but they say that when a person thinks, he could change the world. Just takes one
Yeah,
person.
if you can think and you have philosophy and you can analyze, you can do anything because you've learned how to think properly.
Right.
That's why I think a degree in philosophy is never a waste of time, you know?
Mhm. So we look and we got to police ourselves, and we have to say, okay, where did I get this thought? You know,
Right.
did I learn it myself through my own experience, or did I get it from the internet? Did I get it from Siri? Who did I get it from, and where did they get it from? You know, where did they get it? So the things that cling to you when you're in your passionate state, your heart state, are the things that you pay attention to. So your work is like with the Vedic astrology. That's when you shared that with me, I felt that, you know, I was like so enamored by, oh my God, this is like beyond
Truth.
Western
Yeah,
astrology. It's
you can't make this
beyond
stuff
that.
up, and that's because it resonated with you. That shows, that these are universal truths, and it's not that any one culture has the right over this information. They are the stewards, the caretakers of the information to make sure it's given correctly, but it belongs to everybody.
Mhm.
And that's the beautiful thing that I've really noticed, a real big difference between, when I was doing, Arabic dancing for 26 years, that very much belongs to those people. They don't see it as a spiritual thing. I see it as a spiritual thing, and I see it as belonging to everybody. But as far as they're concerned, it belongs to them. But with, Vedic astrology, Indian people recognize that it's come through their culture, but it's a truth that belongs to everybody. You can't hold it back, If you try to hold it back, then you're not helping people,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
so this gotta find a way that gotta find a way to um, help it to prosper.
yeah.
The astrology we have now is like umbrellas, and it's nothing, but everybody is attracted because that's all they got.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I mean, Western astrology as we know it came from the Greeks. And the Greeks got it from the Persians. And how did they get it from the Persians? They conquered them. It was war. And so we've got this, dilution. And the Persians, what they know, a lot of it they got from the Indians. So, there's this dilution of information that comes along the line. But, I think that for me, it always came back to the stars, paying attention to the stars and the star energy. And so that's why I really want people to, look up. This is something that a lot of people just don't do. They're like this all the time, and they forget to actually look up and look at the stars and immerse yourself in the environment. I mean, it's just, you have to have a personal relationship with the stars and the star relatives, I think, to really understand this information. So I want to go ahead and close. And if there's anything else you want to say?
There's another orb just shot up right in front of you, just straight up.
Oh, really? They're always around me, just like little fairies, like little children.
That's good. I never seen
So
that.
I would say that this year has a lot of Orion energy, a lot of change, a lot of nurturing, but a lot of creative energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we'll just say, make it fun.
Make it fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you wanna concentrate on negativity, you'll get it.
Yeah.
And I think if you get out of your religious mind, then a lot of things that are happening now won't exist, because of the religious mind called to want to see the what do they call them? The teachers that are not right. What do they call them?
Charlatans.
The prophecies, the prophets, the false prophets.
Yeah.
So in order to see a false prophet, you have to put them out in front.
Well, and prophet and prophet, the word prophet noun and the word prophet,
And what do you get? Trump.
Exactly.
People wanted to see it. They got it.
Right. And Trump is also the trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
He's
There you
saying,
go.
wake up, man. You know, we've
Yeah.
got we've got to get it together.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's their, not my system, it's their system.
Yeah.
And they don't like it. They're letting them know. So, just the way it goes, but it doesn't bother him because that's his nature. That's what he's here for.
Yeah.
He's not going to come clean at all. Zero.
No. I was just watching the documentary about Bikram Chowdhury, who is the founder of the hot yoga movement. And he has a narcissistic personality, very, very similar to Trump. And but he, you know what, for some people he was a miracle because he was the fire, the poker that got them up and got them moving and changed their life. But for other people he was a rapist, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so like some people serve that energy where, you know, you're not going to love them, you're either going to love them or you're going to hate them. And you know, but they serve a purpose to get us shooken up so that we can get rid of all of the riffraff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always tell people, well, if, you know, I'd never say my personal opinion about Trump because it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, what I do is I observe the actions, and it just seems like, you know, it seems like we're kind of collectively throwing up right now. But after you throw up, don't you feel better? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what we're going through right now. We're going through this collective purging, and we need that female warrior energy to take charge and to create something new.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? This kind of comes back to this crystal. I remember I was on a panel before 2012 when the subject matter was 2012 and the end of the world. And I was sitting there, I said, I don't believe in that. You know, why you have me up here? They announced it after we got up there. And all these people that were on the stage in the panel with me, they all had books on 2012, you know. And December 21st, the end of the world. And I was like looking at them. And when it came to me, they were doing a roasting it with them all them too, you know. And when it came to me, I said, shit. I said, I don't know what you guys are doing. I said, all these people are here that are talking. They just want to sell their book. You know, they don't know nothing about 2012. I said, I don't either. I said, but all I know is that it's going to be another beautiful day. You know, it's what you're going to make of it. If you want to die, go ahead and die. But I'm going to make it a beautiful day.
Right.
If you want to
And
see the end of your
out of all those people, did anybody ask the Mayans what they thought?
That's exactly what I said. If you want to know,
It's a big
go
problem.
ask a Mayan, you know. The next time you have somebody else, bring the Mayans up here. They'll tell you.
Collective culture we have to have. We cannot culturally appropriate somebody else's culture. We have to listen to what the people from that culture have to say. And, you know, and it's the same thing with people from India, you know, that with Vedic astrology, it's like, have you talked to somebody from India about Vedic astrology? Because it's really important. Like, you really need to talk to the real people. And I mean, I felt a shift in 2012, but it wasn't the end of the world. It was the end of a part of my world. I was moving into something else, but I mean, it was like, yeah. And so I think that, you know, we really need to listen to the elders. We need to listen to the original teachings. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to have you on today, was because I think it behooves everybody in North America to understand and you know, make an effort to understand Native American teachings.
Wow. They asked me to go over at Stonehenge and do their ceremony. I said, No. I said, you got people over there, that know. Use them, use your own people.
Mhm.
They said, well, you and Wallace Black Elk are the most two open-minded Indians that we know, and we need your help. I said, no, you got people over there that know.
Yeah.
I said, it wouldn't do any good for me to borrow somebody from over there, come over here and run our sun dances. It's not
Right.
going to work
Right.
because it's not in their DNA.
Right.
So,
No, but you could go and you could be a friend, and I think they just want you there because they just want to hang out with you.
and I had to say no to 2012
Oh,
down there in South America. They wanted me to go down there and do the ceremonies. I said, no, that's the Mayans. That's their thing,
yeah.
Gonna fly me down and blah blah blah. I said, no, I can't do that. That's an insult to their teachings and their teachers. They have teachers down there. Use them.
Yeah.
But no, they wanted to use guys like wrote books, And the thing was, there's another one that flew right by you. Thing was, okay, you got the Mayan calendar. Now, the Germans got a hold of it. They wrote the first book, and it was not accurate. Somebody else comes along, want to study the Mayan calendar, so they have to get that bibliography, study that book. They add theirs, and pretty soon there's a whole list of authors writing about the Mayan calendar. Problem is, it stemmed from a lie. It's like the Bible. The center part of it is a lie. So when it comes out, there's nothing there. Everybody's more confused than anything. Arguello confused everybody because he was part of that original lie. He studied all that. He got pretty close to it, but he's the one that created the end of the world thing, And he wasn't even around to explain it. When it come down to that year, he died.
It's just a hot mess. That's I always tell people. I mean, if they ask me about the end of the world and 12, I'd say, well, just I'll talk to a Mayan, because it's their culture. It's not my culture. I can't speak on it. I don't know enough to speak on it. But, I just know what personally happened to me in 2012 is when I went up to Detroit and started to become a dancer up there. So for me, it was like the end of an old world and beginning of a new world, but it wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All the brownie points come on, like with YouTube. I said, hey, don't listen to all those people. It's just going to be another day. Simple as that.
Well, and that's why I wanted to have you on today. I want people to hear from the real elders and, invite everybody to Serpent Mound this spring. And of course, next year she'll do the fall as well. I know she does some smaller things in between, but, we've just been building up such beautiful energy there, such beautiful ceremony. And so I'm so grateful to have you on the channel today. And this will reach a lot of people, hopefully. And hopefully we'll see some new faces next year. And
excuse me.
yeah.
What's his name? Humbat Min. The Mayan Elder. I think he got something moving years back about the 13 crystal skulls.
Oh.
And but we didn't hear anything from it. The results, the knowledge, the wisdom, the messages, zero at all. And I think they were over there at Serpent Mound area. And I would suggest, just because I'm curious, just like you, I want to know. I don't have the answers. I'd like to have the answers, but if we're preparing, organizing something like this, an event like this, let's bring in some Mayan elders that have the knowledge and the energy, the knowing, the wisdom of the crystal skulls, that they could. I'll sit there and I'll listen, because I'm just as curious as I want to know the truth. about things too. So maybe we could probably put it out there through this program, your program, and that we need some help.
Yeah. So Mayan elders, if you'd like to come and help us with,
Mhm.
the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull in particular, then this is your open invite. Get a hold of Chief and we'll make it happen.
I think we could get more energy and more information, whether it's channeled or spiritually, if we take out the name Hedges, Michael Hedges.
I know. But that's, but when I was trying, because there's so many different crystal skulls, just to like make sure that online you're getting the right one. That was the archaeologist who was the explorer and found the skull. Obviously, he did not make it. He was just the Western astrologer, or not astrologer, a Western archaeologist who found it. And just to categorize it, that's what we've called it. But since then, it's been called the skull of love. And so I think that's very interesting that that's the energy codes that it carries. And this is
I like that better.
Yeah, the skull of love.
When you're talking about Sedona, the same thing. When I went down Sedona, that was one of the first thing was there's a coyote. First place I went was a cathedral road or cathedral, that chapel. No, there's a coyote came. A coyote told me to go to that hill. So I looked at that hill that was the airport. Went up there, got a hotel room. And I had a dream. And in this dream, the mountain was about this steep. And was walking up, and there was a guy with me. He had a suit on and he had a briefcase. And was going up this hill, walking going up. And right at the bottom of the mountain, there was a big old hole there, and all these people were dressed in suits. They were hauling for this guy to come and help them. And he was looking down. He said, "I got to go back and help them." So I said, "You know what that means down there, don't you?" When you get in that hole, you can't get out. You're just like them. They're asking you to get them out. You can't. When you get in there, you can't get out. Well, I got to go help them. I said, "You know what this means? We're going up. You know what that means? You're going down." I told him that in a dream. You get in that hole, you're going to be stuck. You'll be hauling for help. You'll be asking me help. And I'm like, I'm not going to help you. I can't. So I said, well, I got to help. He jumped in that hole and he couldn't get out, with his briefcase. I knew what that meant. I woke up. I went downtown. The first place I went to was a crystal place. I wasn't around. I never grew up around crystals or anything like that. But I was looking at. They look pretty and they have different shapes. And I asked that lady, "So what's this one here?" Just oh, that one there. She started telling me, and pretty soon she said, "Well, that one will cure cancer." How much? It's like $30 something. Well, I said, "What is it doing here?" If it's supposed to help humanity, why is it in here? Why are you selling it? So I said, no, I don't think that's so. So that was my first introduction to crystal.
Interesting. Well,
crystals are remembrance of our abuse. And a lot of the people from Atlantis like crystal skulls, and they're doing their best to undo their karma.
So you think a lot of this crystal skull technology came from Atlantis? Because, the Mayan, just so people know, the Mayan and the Basque are like the only two cultures, I think, that have languages that are similar to what we think was Atlantis,
Egypt,
right?
Egypt, the Basque, some of the Celts, the Druids have the Algonquins.
Oh.
They all almost have the same type of language.
Hmm.
You know, it's like,
That ties in the north and the south
yeah, but
and the west.
there's languages, the words are broken. Like in our language, they shorten them. Like we used to say, wo pilama ya pelo, which
Okay.
means that the way I feel saying thank you doesn't mean nothing, you know, compared to how I feel. Then they shorten it, wo pilama ya pelo, wo pilama ya pelo, wo pilama ya, wo pila, and pidama, pida, you know. So that's kind of like how that language from Atlantis into Egypt wasn't Egypt then, you know. They had a different name, but that language broke when people traveled. The language shortened, and it's all the way down into the Algonquin over there in the east, the Indians over there in New York area.
Wow.
So it circled itself around. So Atlantis is over here. In fact, a lot of
Mound,
when they
mound builders were
before the
Atlantic.
breakup, a lot of Atlanteans came over here.
Hmm.
That's why we had the conference in Atlantis.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Oh.
Right. Well, Chief, I want to thank you so much for having you on today, and hopefully people will come and see us at Star Knowledge next year and experience crystal skulls and Serpent Mound.
Mhm.
And yeah, if you've got any questions, obviously you can contact both of us. Now, the Star Knowledge website is, I believe, starknowledge.org.
Mhm.
And there is the main website that is for all of the Star Knowledge conferences. And then as they come up during the year, the information gets put on the website. But you can always go there and see what's coming up, and then you can see more information about Chief and different videos. And also, if you go to YouTube and you look up Earth Star TV channel, again, it's the Earth Star TV YouTube channel, you'll find tons of videos, like lots from Chief, lots from different elders, lots from the conferences in the past. Like, it's just kind of a catch-all for like really the last 20 years. And also there is a documentary about the Star Knowledge conferences that is on UFO TV, and you can see that on YouTube. You can see it on Amazon Prime. And also, I don't think Netflix has it, but UFO TV is on Amazon.Prime, so you definitely can get it there. And I'll try to put those links below in the comments. So thank you so much, Chief. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Okay, like the ET Origins is the name of that
ET
UFO
Origin.
TV program. And that was in 1996, but they finally released it 20 some years later because the information at that time, back 20 years ago, finally the people could understand it 20 years later.
Right. And now we use this as a reference point to say this is when the Star Knowledge conferences began.
Mm-hmm.
And now look where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a wonderful documentary, and it really gets you up to speed. So again, I want to thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening with
All right.
And I will see you again. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.
Takuya Oyasin.